I rant and rave about why I'm not a big fan of punishments when someone is doing something, particularly a kid, maybe throwing things at you. I don't like punishments, but that's not to say that I don't believe in setting clear limits when someone is, say, throwing things at me. Ha! Gotcha. Show you. Oh, oops, sorry. I'm here to teach about why that's not a good way of approaching things. Hi out there. This is Dr. Brett Pearce, child psychologist, and today I am talking about the difference between setting limits and imposing like consequences and punishments and things like that when we are dealing with childhood misbehaviors. And today I have the help of my brother, who's actually the cameraman, and he was the one who was throwing things at me. Incidentally, that is one of his favorite things to do, to torment people. And he has lethal aim, and he was being nice there. So thank you, brother, for being nice. So let's talk real quick about the difference between consequences and limits, or punishments and limits. I'm more or less going to use the word consequence and punishment about interchangeably. You'll see my logic, hopefully. So I'm going to throw this back to him for the moment. Whoa! And then I have these fidgety things. I don't know why I'm holding those right now. We'll put those down. So when people hear me say, don't punish, I have all these reasons for it. And if you're new to this channel, they involve the fact that punishment, after 50 years of psychological and behavioral research, have only been shown to produce one consistent result, and that's anger. They certainly have not really served as a useful way of changing behavior for the positive, not only in all that intervention, but pretty much in clinical practice. I promise you're not going to find a good therapist out there, either for adults or kids or families or couples, that is really leaning on this like punishment model. Like, oh, if your spouse is mean to you or hurts your feelings, just take their phone away, right? That's not a thing. So, but getting past that, punishments are basically when we levy something aversive onto a kid because they've misbehaved, and it typically has, it doesn't have a lot to do with the thing in question. So for example, if my brother were to say, throw something at me, and I go, hey, I told you not to do that, give me your phone now. Now, he couldn't do that because he's filming with his phone, so he gets off, this time. What does the phone have to do with this and him throwing things? Nothing. But that would be basically what I'm talking about when I talk about a punishment. And it could be basically anything. It could be, okay, you're going to give me your phone. Okay, you can't have friends over tomorrow. Okay, you can't go to you can't go to baseball practice tomorrow, or whatever it is that we're doing, where we're administering something aversive or taking away something good in order to try to reduce a negative behavior, particularly when it comes in a punitive fashion. And I think that's maybe a really, really good word to really focus on for this video, is punitive. So a limit might be something like this. So I'm going to throw this back to my brother. So, okay, we're hanging out, and I've told my brother not to throw things at me, and boom, he throws it. Hang on, I told you not to throw this at me. I don't like that. We're taking a break with this. I'm now keeping it for a couple minutes because you're not listening to me. All right, let's, time out here. So what in the world is the difference, Dr. Pearce? How could it possibly be different for you to take his phone away, or take some other privilege, or take points off of his behavior chart, or something like that, versus grabbing the thing he's throwing at you and saying, oops, no, we're taking a break? Well, I'm here to tell you there is a world of difference, absolute worlds of difference. So in the first example, bro throws something at me, I take a privilege or something like that, or administer something aversive, like I'm going to put soap in your mouth or something like that because you're not listening to me. That has a quality that basically is kind of like it's sort of like a lashing out. It's just like oh yeah, whack kind of thing. Now, sometimes we have to do that in life, when we're dealing with, like, I don't know, a bully or someone who clearly has they want to hurt us, and we need to show them that, we're not just going to sit there and take it, right? So I hear that. But the intention there is more, when we're talking about kids, and I'm here talking about my brother, it would be more of like a lashing out. Whereas oh shoot, you're now not listening to me, you're throwing it at me, which I don't care for, and suppose this were some like big heavy object, maybe it's outright not safe for the kid to be throwing it around, then we're imposing a limit that directly relates with the situation at hand. And so our intentions and the entire way of operating becomes entirely different. So to illustrate this point, again, if you're having a hard time understanding why it's so different, let's suppose that that instead I was doing a cooking video, and one random fact about me that I might have mentioned on the channel before is I know how to make kimchi. So suppose that I was on this video and I was teaching my brother how to make kimchi, and so my brother was kind of adding way too much ginger or something like that to his kimchi. So which would work a lot better for me to get my brother's behavior to change? Would it be better for me to take his phone away? Oh shoot, you added too much ginger, I'm taking your phone away. Or would it be better for me to go, oh shoot, hold on, and kind of block him? Whoa, tiger, that's a lot of ginger. In my opinion, kimchi needs to have a lot more garlic, and then the ginger kind of just softens that a little bit. Okay, love kimchi. Bottom line is, you see where I'm going with this? One of the best ways for us to think about behavior and to think about changing behavior is to think about being a good teacher. That's effectively what we're doing. We're trying to instill knowledge and values. We're trying to teach about making good choices. And we learn new behaviors well when we receive corrective feedback in the moment and then an opportunity to implement that feedback. We don't really learn behavior terribly well when some judicial consequence is just sort of levied upon us that doesn't necessarily have a lot to do. I mean, it can signal us that something didn't go well, and it can potentially motivate us. But again, decades of research shows, unsurprisingly to me, that punishment only serves to really make people angry, and it can suppress behavior too. So maybe my brother just becomes sneakier about throwing things at me. Maybe he throws things at me when I'm not looking and then blames someone else, which I'm confident that he's done more than once in the past. But I won't make him fess up to that here, because this video is all about me, not him. No, I'm just teasing. So bottom line is, you can see how my saying, oh shoot, no, we're taking a break with this because you were not listening to me and you keep throwing it when I've asked you not to, that directly relates to the situation at hand. And then what I'm probably going to do, particularly with a kid, is literally after something like, 60 seconds, a minute, 2, 3, maybe even 4 whole minutes, I might even go 5, I'm going to say, okay, dude, are you ready to listen to me? I'm asking you not to throw this at me. Now, it looks like maybe you want to play catch. Can we do that? You're just going to have to throw it softly, and you're going to have to wait until I'm looking. Or something, right? I'm going to lean on giving my brother, giving the kid an opportunity to demonstrate the behavior that I want, just in the same way that if I were teaching my brother how to make kimchi, I would be like, oh shoot, I would suggest maybe, for a big bowl of kimchi that we're working on here, maybe just like a teaspoon of shredded ginger at the most or something, right? And I would, I would try to provide an opportunity for the corrective whatever, I want to see the behavior happen. That's how we learn. So the first thing, punishment and punitive approaches, and when we're really focused on consequences, it's a power struggle. I'm lashing out, you're angry, I'm angry, we're angry together, who is the bigger and stronger wins. Let's set limits that logically connect and are not overly punitive and have an eye towards providing an opportunity to learn and demonstrate success. That's about teaching and guidance and growth. So this has just been a little bit about the difference when someone is throwing things at you between limits and consequences or punishments. Now, can you argue that the limits are a punishment or a consequence? Sure. We can get into those semantics, and I don't mind, semantic hair splitting. But that's the way that I encourage folks to look at it, and it makes worlds of difference. Because the bottom line is, when kids are displaying misbehaviors, there is a reason for that. And the reason isn't just the kid's a brat, the kid needs to be punished, the kid needs to learn a lesson. The reasons usually have to do with the fact that kids, like adults, have feelings and needs and concerns. And when those feelings and needs and concerns are not getting resolved, kids tend to act out. It's the same thing with adults too. We find it in the workplace. We find that employees who are dissatisfied, don't feel heard, don't feel valued, don't feel trusted, don't have a clear sense of purpose, et cetera, tend to display behaviors that employers would probably call problem behaviors, like low motivation, lower productivity, not a great attitude about work, maybe increased absenteeism, etc. And so when we go into punishment mode, we basically say, okay, kid, when you have concerns are not being addressed, you're going to get punished. And how do you think that kid starts to feel about having concerns? The kid starts to associate concerns with punishment. Not a great way to go. But when we set limits and teach and guide in a way that's non-punitive and has an eye towards fair consequences that logically connect and that are aimed towards containing the situation, then we tend to foster, okay, so let's figure this out together. And concerns get to be associated with well, adults are going to kind of take the lead with me in a way that's kind of bigger, wiser, and kinder, and we're going to figure things out together. So at any rate, thanks for listening. This has been another video, probably one of, hundreds that I'll be doing across the lifetime of this channel on why punishments are not a good idea. And people have understandably brought up, well, what should I do instead? Well, in many cases, I don't think there's a lot that you need to do instead, which is frustrating. But setting limits is definitely something important to do. And very often, those limits don't feel as satisfying when we're frustrated, because when we're frustrated, we really are like, we want to kind of show them, right? But why would you get even when you can get results? So this is Dr. Brett Pearce, child psychologist, about to sign out. Please do consider hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already. It means a lot to me when people do that. Also, there's a bell notification that you can smash to be informed of when I post videos. Please take care out there, and it's Halloween soon. It's probably my favorite holiday. And be sure to tune in for a video coming later this week. It'll be a Halloween special on fear, and it will have a very special guest star.